Well, hello friends, and welcome to another WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado, where I separate the truth from bullshit, facts from fiction, in plain English. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that really pisses me off every time I think about it. And I want to share it with you because I know that some of you have been or have already experienced this. And it's a matter of significant interest for a lot of people. So let me share that with you today, and well, we'll see what happens. So without any further delay, let's get at it. And we're back. All right, friends. So the matter that I'm going to talk to you about today, it deals with the WSIB Corporate Security Branch, as I like to refer to as the corporate security stench, because it really does stink. It stinks so bad that it's not even funny. Why these idiots have to resort to such tactics to discourage people from pursuing answers to important questions regarding their claims, which, by the way, these idiots are hired to do to begin with. But no, they have to resort to these tactics where they just hope that you're going to be or curl up in a little ball and go away. And it's sick. It really is. But you know, what do you expect from these people, right? It's been, I don't know, years, decades. And you get the same kind of bullshit. They just dress it up a little differently. But this one here even shows just how far low they're willing to go, judging by the number of these letters that have been sent out, including some of them to members of my company. And of course, it backfires on them. It really does, because if you don't succumb to their bullshit pressure and their tactics and their bullying, and you stand up to them and you push back, they have really no alternative but to back the fuck up, right? But they only pry on individuals who don't push back, who are intimidated. And they know that. These people know that. That's why they play these games. So today I'm going to show you how to push back and how to deal with these assholes once and for all. So it deals with a letter that some of you have most likely received, or you've been threatened. And so I'm going to put it up on the screen here because there's a few things about this that really, it shows just how nasty and how underhanded and sleazy these people are. First of all, this letter is from their so-called corporate securities branch, which, as I said before, in my view, it's their corporate securities stench. So the first thing you're going to notice right at the bottom is that nobody had the balls to sign this letter. And they never do. You see, the idiots in leadership, right? They like to play these games, but they don't like to own the document that they signed their name to. Because if they signed their name to that document, then they have to own it. Then, under scrutiny, they have to explain why such a document was sent. And scrutiny happens when you push back, right? Precisely the way that I'm going to show you how to do today. Because it will work. Because when you push back against these idiots, people are listening. And they will pay attention and they will take action. So in the first paragraph, they state, well, you know, yada, 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 right? And then they state in the red line there, this organization is strongly committed to service delivery. Really? Like, fuck you, right? Like, how a big heaping pile of fuck you, okay? Because you're not committed to strong service delivery or strongly committed to service delivery or whatever regurgitation that you have of that sentence. You're not committed to any of that. Because if you were, you wouldn't create the circumstances under which somebody will feel so desperate that you have to send them such a sleazy letter. Okay? This only happens when you're not doing your fucking job. So don't try to tell everybody that you're committed to service delivery, because you're not. You're committed to making sure that you have a job, that you continue to line your pockets at the expense of injured workers throughout this province. That's what you're committed to doing. Make no mistake. I'm on to you. You know that I know what you're talking about, you bunch of sleazebags. Okay, so then they go into, well, you know, it's been reported to the corporate security branch, right? That you've sent correspondence, including senior leadership, using abusive and accusatory language. Really? Asking your leadership to explain something that the lesser idiots beneath them couldn't adequately explain isn't using abusive language or being unprofessional. It's merely asking somebody to explain, right, why some of the shit that your people put on these letters that nobody can understand, to explain those things, why there wasn't a particular section of the act that was more appropriate in that particular case used, or why there wasn't a more appropriate policy used, or why evidence was ignored, or why they overruled the doctor, or why they're pushing a person back to work prematurely and without the doctor's advice, or why they're denying healthcare treatment when their doctors are recommending it. You see, the list goes on and on and on and on. So as you can see, my friends, I'm pretty hot under the collar here. So anyway, getting on with this letter, you know, they say, well, we have zero tolerance for this type of behavior. Well, you know what? If you start to answer people and act in a responsible manner and do what you're paid to do, then you don't have to deal with this kind of shit, right? You don't have to threaten people that you're going to do this, that, and the other thing, and that you're not going to, you're not going to respond to any of their questions. But we all know what's going on here, right? We know that these leaders, these so-called people in the leadership, the managers and directors and 20 plus VPs and everybody up the fucking ladder, nobody likes to explain things, right? You all like to hide behind your nice little closed doors and your nice cozy office, right? Getting paid for a shit fucking job because you're not treating people with respect, right? Just a little bit of respect. You know, the threats, the intimidation, the bullying, right? This is gangster kind of shit, right? You're going to send somebody else to do your dirty work by having your corporate securities stench do your dirty work, and they don't even have the balls to sign their fucking name to the letter, so that the person that you're targeting can actually address that person directly, or better yet, when they're complaining about somebody or to someone who will actually listen, they have a name to give them. But no, there's no name there, and you, the piece of shit leader, so-called leader, who said, hey, listen, send this letter out to this poor bastard, okay, and get him off my back. Yeah, you, the bastard and the fucking coward who doesn't have the balls to sign his or her name to that letter, and then another coward who sends that letter and doesn't sign their name. This is gangster kind of bullshit, right? Because if you're doing your job, you didn't have to play these kinds of games like you do, right? It's nonsense. You're just a bunch of idiots. If you lived in this real world like we all do, you wouldn't do this, right? Because you would see that people are actually suffering as a result of your bullshit, your tactics. You're just taking up space. You're sucking up air, right? That should be somebody else's, because you are the scum of the earth, in my opinion, by what you do to people and the position that you put them in by playing these games. And here's to you. But you haven't fooled anybody, and you certainly haven't fooled me. So, my friends, before I get into this next portion, we're gonna take a few moments so you can hear a little bit about our corporate partner who is sponsoring this video.
We know that connecting with the right lawyer or paralegal to handle your case can be overwhelming. Do they have the expertise to handle your case? Do they have a good track record? Are they affordable? We've got you covered. Legal Pro Connect takes the guesswork out of finding the right legal provider. We've already done the vetting for you and connect you with the right lawyer or paralegal. With the expertise to handle your specific issue and at preferred rates. Get connected today. Visit www.wsibsettlements.com.
So friends, here's the way that you have to address this. If you got one of these letters, or if the WSIB is intimidating you in any way, shape, or form, or if they're refusing to provide answers that you need, they don't have to push you to appeals without providing answers that you need. You have a right to those answers. And if they're stonewalling you, and if you get a letter like this one, here's what you do. File a complaint with the real Ontario Ombudsman. The real Ontario Ombudsman. Not the Fair Practices Commission. If you haven't looked at my videos on that organization, watch them, okay? Because I have zero tolerance for bullshit. And as far as I'm concerned, they're just another organization that's going to extend the period of resolution, or for you to try to get issues resolved. They're going to extend that because they're useless and they can't get you answers, and they have no power over the WSIB to change anything that they do. All right. And this is based on my own experience. This is based on my own investigation. Somebody else may have a different opinion. Well, so be it. Go with it. Whatever. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But what I want to do is I want to refer you to the real Ontario Ombudsman. The Ombudsman who actually has the power to investigate the WSIB, and they have the power to make recommendations, strong recommendations, for these motherfuckers to stop fucking with you, right? So I'm going to put the website down below of the Ontario Ombudsman, and it's easy to file a complaint. You just go online and you follow the prompts. The process is easy. There are several ways to do that. You can do it over the phone. You can do it with an in-person meeting. You can do it by faxing them a complaint and writing out what your issue is and providing any accompanying materials like this piece of shit letter that if you received one, send it, okay? And have them investigated because they have the power. They are not controlled by the Ontario government. They're not in control. They're not controlled by the WSIB. They're not funded by either. They are a standalone organization that has the power over all provincial government agencies and the provincial government itself. They're the ones that can help. Okay? So make that complaint, because the more people who make that complaint, the more you're going to do to put these assholes in their place. Because these kinds of games, there's no room in this world for these kinds of people who play these kinds of games, because they need to respect you and your family and the fact that you're going through hard times, that you're hurt or that you're sick and that you need treatment, not to be bullied, not to be threatened, not to be intimidated. You need help. That's what you need. And if they're not going to give it to you, make the complaint. Do yourself a favor, make the complaint. And if you have any challenges with that, you're really not sure how to do that, our website is right here on the screen. Send us an email and we will help you. We will help you make sure that these people are put in their spot, in their places, because this is just utter fucking nonsense. All right, my friends. As always, I enjoyed sharing this little bit of information with you. I know it's the weekend coming up, but hopefully this will give you something positive that you can do to help yourself to report these people. This will give you something, okay? And don't be intimidated or threatened by them. They're not that powerful. They try to come across, but you saw the letter. Nobody signs it. The person who made the referral to the corporate securities branch, that person didn't sign it. Why? Because they're all a bunch of fucking cowards. Okay, my friends? That's why they try to get rid of me, because they know I speak it like it is, right? In plain English. I don't mince words. And I call bullshit bullshit, right? That's what I do. Okay, my friends? So have an amazing weekend. And as always, and until the next one.